A couple of weeks ago, I made a video about what you need to do if your net worth is under $10,000. Well, this video is next in line in the series. In this video, we are going to speak about what steps you should take if you want to get your net worth above the $50,000 mark. Once you hit the 10K and 50K net worth, you will notice that it becomes addictive to continually increase your net worth. So if you have watched my under 10K net worth video, you should have the fundamentals already under your belt. If you have not seen it, I will leave a link to it in the description box below and up here on the cards. The first step in today's video is still focused on saving money and to start investing. Savings is still going to be your number one priority to get your net worth above the 50K mark. But also getting your money to work for you is a big step at this stage. If you start saving $500 per month for 6 years at a 10% return, which can be achieved through investing into the S&P 500 index fund, you'll have saved up just under $50,000. And the reason why I picked $500 per month is because the median salary in the United States is $60,000 per year. And you should be aiming to save at least 10% of your monthly salary. If you feel that is too much for you, then I will leave a link to this calculator in the description box below and you can play around with the numbers yourself. You'll notice that 73% of that 50K will come from your savings and 26% of the 50K will be from interest earned. In other words, your money that worked for you. The point of what I'm trying to make is that most of the money earned will still come from your savings. Meaning the more you save, the more your net worth would increase. And as your net worth increases, the less savings will matter because your interest will bring in most of the money in the future. Let me show you a quick example of what I mean. Once you have been investing the same $500 at a 10% return rate for 30 years, as you can see from this image, most of your money earned has come from interest, meaning your money has worked for you. This is why it's important to start investing as young as possible. With this said, you should know that keeping your money in your bank account is not a form of saving or investing. When I say savings, I mean spending less money per month. Thereby, you will have more money left over at the end of the month in the form of savings. And when I refer to investing, that means having money in an account which is at least going to get you more than 8% return on your money for the year. Certain countries such as the United States and the United Kingdom, keeping money in your bank account will yield you extremely small returns such as 1 or 2%. You need to make sure that where you invest your money is giving you a return of at the very least 8% per annum. The lack of interest returns by keeping your money in your normal bank account is the first reason as to why you want to invest. The second reason is inflation. The inflation rate means how much general prices in your country have increased by. Now, even though the Feds in the United States try to keep the inflation at the 2% level, they don't always stay at that rate. The inflation rate in the United States at the time of recording is 2.3%. This means that if you get a return on your investment of 2.3% or less, you are actually getting poorer as the cost of goods are increasing faster than the value of your money. So by investing money, not only are we getting to our 50K value amount sooner, but we are also protecting the value of our money from inflation. Now you may ask where one should invest in order to grow their net value. On this channel from day one, I have always recommended investing into the S&P 500 index fund, which has been generating a return of just over 10% per annum since its inception in 1957. And if you take tax into consideration, you can round it down to a net return of 8% per year. The next step you need to take on your way to a 50K net worth is that you need to ensure that you are allocating your money optimally. Now, I have made a full video on this, so I'm not going to go over it in detail, but the general idea is that you want to use your money for paying off your necessary expenses such as your living expenses, paying off your high interest rate debts, contributing to your emergency fund, etc. And then you can follow it with where to invest your money and where you can make your discretionary purchases. Have a look at my full video which I have left in the description box below and on the cards on top to get a better idea on how to optimally allocate your money. Now the next step that you should be taking on your way to a 50K net worth is what you should be doing with any extra money you should get, such as a windfall of cash from a bonus or an increase in your salary. Whenever you get a raise, you want to be allocating at least half of your increase to savings and investing. This is one way to ensure that you don't increase your standard of living today at the expense of having financial freedom sooner than what you would have had. So an example of this would be that if you got an increase of 4%, set aside 2% of that increase and ensure that it is invested instead. The average savings rate in the United States rate sits at just under 5%, which is not great at all. You should strive to save at least 10% of your monthly income. If you can get to this 10%, you'll make considerable strides to get your net worth to the 50k mark. Now, moving on to the next step that you should take to get your net worth above 50k mark is to follow the 1% rule. If you watched my first video about getting your net worth above the 10k mark, you would have known that in that video I speak about the 2% rule. But as your net worth increases, it makes more sense to reduce it to the 1% rule. Now, what this 1% rule means is that you should be trying your best not to purchase any discretionary items that exceed 1% of your net worth. So an example of this would be that if your net worth is 30k, then you should not look to buy any one thing which is worth more than $300. The reason why we want to implement the 1% rule is because the more you sacrifice today, you'll be repaid tenfold that money in the future. Let me show you an example of what I mean. If your net worth is 30k and you make a $300 purchase once a month, meaning 1% of your net worth per month, which equates to $3,600 for the year, by the time you retire, that money would be worth almost $80,000. Yes, this example is a little extreme, but the point I'm trying to make is that for you to understand the time value of money and the opportunity cost money has. Since a lot of the friction of making money comes in making your first $50,000, we want to keep an eye out on what we are spending on when we are just starting out. Eventually, once your net worth gets to the 6-figure mark, you can relax on this rule and spend a little bit more freely. And the final step you can take when it comes to getting your net worth up to the 50k mark is to invest in assets which are just a little riskier. Have a look at this image where it shows how people's assets are split up between different net worths. You will notice that as you become wealthier, your business interests and the amount you own in stocks tend to go up. With this said, you should consider investing about 5% of your net worth in riskier assets. Now, I'm not speaking about penny stocks or cryptos you have never heard of, because that would be considered as gambling. What I am referring to is investing in a company or an asset which is reputable. Investing in a single stock such as Amazon or Bitcoin is an example of what I mean. I want to re-emphasize that you only want to be investing a maximum of 5% of your net worth into risky assets, as there's always a potential that the value of these investments drops significantly in less than a week, and you don't want to lose the progress you made on your way to a net worth of 50k. There you have it, everyone. I hope this video has brought you some value, and if you have liked this video, then you'll like my next video about the 7 differences between the rich and poor. Like and subscribe for more.